All right, do some business here. I think we all know the subject matter. We are all together now. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their long holiday weekend. This is essentially a Monday because the Tigers were on all day yesterday. We'll get to Michigan State in a bit, but I think the big story is Michigan. Laying another egg on national television, laying another egg in a big-time ball game. And I'm sorry, I find most, if not all, of the commentary that I have heard locally and nationally wholly unacceptable. And I think people are living in a fantasy land, and that's just not going to fly here. That's not me. It's not what I'm offering you. Let me offer you my thoughts. I'll throw you the number. If you have thoughts, great. There's not going to be a cute question here. I'm giving you statements. I'm giving you opinions. What you do with those is up to you. 248-539-9797. But let me start out with this. Saturday night to me was an embarrassment, and here's why. Because it's on Jim Harbaugh. You come out of the offseason. How can your offense look that way? Like, how many practices did you have to watch to know that your tackles sucked? But yet, those are the two guys that you rolled out there on the road in South Bend. Like, how many practices did you have to watch? Like, in the same breath as I'm hearing local guys talk about Ed Warner being such a hero, well, how many practices did you have to watch to put those two guys out there? Or does that mean the two guys behind them are even worse? My point is, your O-line looked like the same garbage I saw last year. Your O-line is a sieve. Your tackles were my biggest concern. It's why I warned you about Shea Patterson. The game management is still an embarrassment. And you guys can run from this, and you can pull a Skip Bayless, or you could pull a Kellerman. Oh, well, look what Harbaugh did here, there, and everywhere. I don't care, because let me tell you something right now. That guy who coached Stanford, that guy who coached 49ers, he gone. This ain't that guy. The game management is as if it's by a 15-year-old playing Madden. How do you come out of the second half with a delay game? How do you go for it on 4th and 4 from the 45-yard line with the defense you got? How? How are you sitting there and on a 3rd and 3, instead of utilizing the short passing game that seemingly was working, jamming it up the middle? How are you burning? I mean, it was like Brady Hoke was coaching. You're burning the clock as the game's running down in a 2-score game, and you're not snapping the ball till 7 on the clock. Offensive guru? My balls. Jim Harbaugh is showing he has no basic command of how to run a game. Argue it. Come at me. Oh, you're a Spartan. Yeah, and I'm right. Your coach has no idea what he's doing. I'm convinced of it. You don't make these mistakes repeatedly if you know what you're doing. Remember last year when I criticized 4th and 11 play-action pass at Penn State? His headset. 3rd and 9, I-form, toss sweep against Wisconsin? His headset. The punt formation against State? His headset. The play pass against Ohio State with Spate in his own end zone. No reason to do it? His headset. You want to keep going? You had all off season. The team comes out, no discipline. Your game management is still a mess. It was absolutely substandard. You cannot argue to the contrary. I mean, you can, but I will laugh in your face. And then here's what you get. All off season. And the media sat there with their mouth open as the Michigan PR machine dropped in sticks of butter. Oh, Shea Patterson this, the O-line that, Ed Warner this, our wide receivers that. Let me go ahead and tell you something. Your scheme didn't make any meaningful changes. None. Harbaugh should not be calling your offense. Period. End of story. You know what you came out and did? Here's what you did. Single read, shotgun, Tecmo Bowl. That's what you did. That's your offense. That's literally what you took the field with to open your season at Notre Dame. And somehow I'm supposed to sit here and talk glowingly about Jim Harbaugh and his football acumen, his offensive acumen, that he's a QB whisperer. You know what I see? I see a guy who doesn't know how to call a game anymore. You can criticize me. You can't argue what I'm saying. The things I've brought up, those are facts. Your game management's a joke, and that falls at his feet. Period. You can't run from it anymore. You got to stop with the rhetoric. Tell me right here's what needs to happen, right? You can go two ways here, right? We had a nice little fork in the road. You can keep buying the hype. You know, this act of cognitive dissonance. You can buy the hype, tell yourself it's all good, it's all okay. There's not a team on our schedule that we can't beat. Harbaugh did this in the Super Bowl. Harbaugh did this at Stanford. You can do that. Or here's what I suggest. You can demand something of your head coach that no one in the media is demanding. You can demand something of your head coach that nobody in the fandom is talking about. And you can come to grips with the following. Jim Harbaugh needs to become Bobby Bowden. Jim Harbaugh needs to divest himself from having anything to do with the offense. You know why? Because he sucks. Because he can't call a game. Because he hasn't changed. Because he has no sequencing. He has no rhyme or reason for the things he does, when he does them, how he does them. You can't argue it. I would sit down and watch a game with you and make you look stupid. Jim Harbaugh's offense is a disaster. Jim Harbaugh's play calling is a disaster. Jim Harbaugh's system of running a coaching staff with no known offensive coordinator is a disaster. And his game management was the second worst I saw all weekend. Sincerely, Willie Taggart, Florida State last night. You came out of an offseason, that was your game plan. Now remember, before you criticize me, the side of the ball he knows nothing about, the side of the ball he doesn't touch, has been the side that has carried you the last few years, the defense. I am telling you right now, I've seen what I need to see. This would be my last straw if I am a Michigan fan. Jim Harbaugh should have absolutely no say in the offense. None. Because his sequencing, his play calls, his idea and mindset of what winning football is in 2018, not 2013, not 2010, doesn't matter. Right here, right now, this dude's lost his touch. And you can do whatever you want. Make fun of the size of my nose. You can tune it out and go, oh, my God, he's a Spartan. Bottom line is I'm right. You won't be able to effectively argue with me unless you're willing to see reality for what it is. This is bad, people. You scored 10 points in your opener. You want to play the ifs and buts game? I know that's a popular routine with Michigan apologists. Well, if Shea didn't take a sack, or if Shea didn't fumble, if Shea didn't throw a pick, newsflash, that's Shea Patterson. The turnovers, that's kind of who he is. You know why he didn't look good in the pocket? Well, first of all, he was pressured on about half of his passing attempts, all based on your tackles, which I tried to warn you about. Nobody want to listen. Here's the problem. When he had the ability to step up, he didn't do it. You know why? Because he has no pocket presence. Because he's not an NFL quarterback. Because he's not a pocket passer. He's a 5'10", don't believe the media guide. He's a 5'10", frail, diminutive scrambler who is best on the edge. But you're not going to make a living on the edge unless you can effectively run the football. SpaghettiOs, 33 carries, 58 yards. By the way, did Chris Evans have a falling out here? You want to help me with how your carry discrepancy is Higdon 22 carries, Chris Evans 2? Once again, your coach has no handle on what's happening in front of him. You can say whatever you want. The Harbaugh you thought you hired is dead. That guy ain't around. This guy looks like he's doing the In My Feelings challenge in his head. I don't know what that is. But if you're a Spartan fan and you're uncomfortable with Dave Warner, I will kiss Dave Warner's ass before I allow Jim Harbaugh to call a game for me. This guy has got to divest himself, be a program CEO. Get a real offensive coordinator, stay out of his way. He's got a real defensive coordinator. He stays out of his way. I'm telling you. I didn't see anything from that offense in the opener. And here's what's going to happen, too, because I caught Wojo's soupy sales routine on Fox 2 this weekend. Don't buy the hype about Michigan dominating the second half. Can I help you with something? Notre Dame had such little respect for your offense. They knew you couldn't get to 21. They didn't need to do anything. Does that look familiar to you? It's what MSU did to you. You fell behind 14-3. We knew you couldn't get to 14. You fell behind 21-3 and subsequently 21-10 with Ambry's unbelievable return. Notre Dame knew you couldn't get to 21. But fundamentally, this team played unintelligent football. Fundamentally, on offense, they have no tackle play. Your wide receivers are no good. Your quarterback is a single-read shotgun passer who has happy feet, some of it justified, some of it not. Because you know what's weird? When McCaffrey came in the game, you know what McCaffrey did a couple of times, ice cold? Stepped up in the pocket. Didn't run backwards. Stepped up into the pocket. Made decisions. I'm not going to turn him into Wally Pipp here. I'm not going to say he's unbelievable. But McCaffrey showed you what pocket presence looks like. Shea Patterson, to me, is the same kid I saw at Ole Miss, and here's the difference. You're government cheese, Ole Miss. You don't have A.J. Brown. You got Grant Perry. You don't have D.K. Metcalf. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones. You don't have Evan Ingram. You got Zach Gentry. You don't have Greg Little at left tackle. You don't have number 5, that Lodge kid, the little slot receiver they got. Look, I don't know what to tell you, but to me, the solution is simple. Your coach lost his edge. And I know what's going to happen. You're going to go out, you're going to smoke Western, you're going to blow out SMU, might be one of the 5 worst teams in America. Doesn't matter to me. I've seen what I need to see. When you play in big games, you're not going to win them. And frankly, Harbaugh's saying we're going to stick to it. We're going to stay the course. You know what? I've seen enough red flags. I've seen enough alarming things. It's Harbaugh's offense that has kept you from going anywhere. It's Harbaugh's play calling that's kept you from going anywhere. It's Harbaugh refusing to give up control that has kept you from going anywhere. And what I saw Saturday night to me should be the final straw for you. If you're willing to be honest with yourself. If. 248-539-9797. That's how I see it. I'd love your thoughts. There's no cute question. We'll get to MSU in a little bit. I know this is the bigger fire starter. I know this is the bigger news. It is. I've got very strong thoughts on MSU. And I'll tell you this, if you're a Spartan and you don't think you're in some trouble this weekend in the desert, you're just as bad as the Michigan fans you moan about. I will give you a complete breakdown of MSU. But I wanted to open up with what I deem to be the biggest of the news stories today, which is Michigan dumping its 17th road game against a ranked opponent in a row. 97-1.